one of the principal allegations is that the election was electronically rigged, that it was hacked. And in other words, the electoral network was manipulated, and it's the argument, the belief is that there was Chinese involvement in it. First off, it's worth remembering that the South Korean electoral network is pretty simple. Whereas we have an extremely complex one going down to the county level that each kind of do their own thing, and there's just almost thousands of little computer networks that you have to get and navigate to try and do something with it. In South Korea's case, effectively what you have is with the National Election Commission, one server, or a big the NEC server, and that connects to every polling site. And that's about all it is. It's pretty easy to understand. So if you can get into the election network, then you have access to the voters list, the voting machines, or the vote counting machines, sort of everything. I imagine if I was one of these guys who hacks for a living, that I'd probably find this a pretty juicy target and not think it all that complicated. The network design is pretty simple. And then you look at what the network is made of, and you've got, let's say, the server with the voting connected to each site with the voting machines, counting machines, and the telecom company that provides the communications equipment for this thing is called LGU+. That's a Korean telecom company. It uses all sorts of equipment made by Huawei, the Chinese telecom company that is an arm of the Chinese Communist Party's surveillance apparatus, and that the Americans and a number of other countries have gone to great lengths to try and get them Huawei equipment out of their systems. It's notable that LGU Plus has refused to join the American so-called clean network, or that they're going to put together globally, that is sort of clean of Chinese hardware. LG Plus doesn't want to be part of that. The Moon administration doesn't want to make them be part of it, saying, well, it's a private company, they can make their own decisions. So here you have, in the network, you have Huawei equipment and a company that is well disposed towards Huawei. In fact, LGU Plus's former president is now an advisor for Huawei, currently has been since 2017. So that's a problem. You have the vulnerability there. Additionally, at each polling site, you have what are called electronic counting machines. And these collect and count the ballots. And in each machine, there's a laptop computer as part of the package. These computers they're LG Gram laptops. And this too, there's a very serious concern about that. They're assembled in the PRC. Once again, Huawei concerns, but even if it wasn't Huawei, just having something this sensitive assembled in the People's Republic of China as a problem. This, of course, is just not proof of anything, but it does indicate some real vulnerability. But when you look at the National Election Commission's reaction when they were challenged on this by citizens, is regarding the possibility of the system being hacked. They said, well, it's a dedicated network, hacking is impossible. Well, that speaks for itself. Additionally, when asked about Huawei and Huawei equipment, hardware in the system, they said Chinese Huawei is irrelevant. That's it. So why, go to some, those hacker conventions in Vegas and make say those two things, and you probably couldn't hear yourself for all the laughter. But that was their answer. So that, once again, gets your attention. Now, then you had, before in July 2019, so for 9 months before the election or so, one of President Moon's closest advisors, and he's the head of the Democratic Party's official think tank, which is responsible for winning elections. He goes to the People's Republic of China, and he signs a sort of a policy cooperation agreement with the Chinese Communist Party's Central School. He takes with him an assembly member from the Democratic Party, who was also the Moon's deputy campaign manager for the 2017 election. But in addition to signing this agreement, they also visit Tencent, the big data company in China. So they do that, and keep in mind that Moon's close advisor is, when he was in college, he was the leader of the Struggle Committee for Anti-American Independence, Anti-Fascism, Democratization. And it kind of gives you an idea of where his sympathies lie. So these guys go to China, sign an agreement with the Central Party School, meet up with Tencent, and then a couple of weeks later, a prominent Chinese AI guy, he comes to Seoul and he meets with Moon's people, and they talk about the upcoming election. Once again, that kind of gets your attention, to see that happen. It has been alleged that Tencent and other Chinese companies helped with the pre-election big data analysis, which is very helpful for giving you a sense of how things look. But I'm a lawyer, so I of course don't understand big data, other than to know that if used right, it can be very effective. Additionally, there's evidence, and it's documentary evidence, that on there's ballot papers that have language misspelled, and it's spelled in the way that a Chinese Korean would have written it. The language for the congressional election, it's misspelled, and no Korean would make that mistake. Additionally, you had Chinese nationals serving as poll watchers during the election. This too is verified. And then in all of this, there's been no forensic examination done on the software, the hardware, really the allegations that have been made. Nobody's really challenged these, other than to dismiss them as conspiracy theories and fake news, while the Moon administration uses its legal powers and its coercive powers against the people who brought these charges.